What's up? What's up? Hello. Let me do the audio check first. Let's try with Twitch. Twitch is working out. Twitch is okay. Now let's try with YouTube. Hello. Let me do the audio check. YouTube also works out. Great. It means we are live, we are on. And I turned everything off in here. No, I didn't. Alright. What's up, guys? How are you doing on this lovely Sunday? I'll be doing part 2 of my research with grammar R&D. Or PCG grammar R&D. I was digging into this last Sunday. Faced a couple of problems. I managed to fix one problem offline, mathematical problem, and I will explain to you how I fixed it in a second. Also, I checked one thing for Stormrun Gaming. I wonder if he will show up, so I could show him what's going on regarding sampling landscape layers, painted landscape layers in PCG. And today we'll be going deeper into the grammar and PCG. The goal is to try to start building something that looks a little bit more like something actually real. Like, for example, hey, I want to start building this building, right? Or building these walls with those fences, etc., etc. Like, I want to create a couple of modules like this and see if these are workable. That would be awesome to find out. Like, for example, not only to spawn the wall with those, windows, etc., but also maybe spawn like those details, this little side thing, I don't know what it is being called, or there's a pipe somewhere from what I remember. Yeah, like pipes going down and up. There might be a part 3 to this stream also. Dexterovsky, hello man, how are you doing? How are you doing? And another thing that I have to share is, just as I've been asked to, I finally managed to create my own Discord server. It is bare bones right now, but let me share the link with y'all. It should show up both on Twitch and YouTube, I hope. And I got an additional thing to share. Dexterovsky says, good, and you missed some streams, shame on me. Don't you worry, they're all, VODs, etc. Don't you worry, you probably had some important stuff to take care of, etc., etc. No problemo. No problemo. How is the Sunday treating you? What are you working on right now? I think during my winter break, I think I saw you talking on Unreal Source in one of the topics regarding water buoyancy, etc. It was a nice discussion. I learned a lot from that. But it was nice to see you in the wild and be like, oh, I know this guy. And another thing I gotta share is, like I was saying earlier, I'm in the process of compiling all of my notes that are gathered through different notepads, online documents, etc., and compiling them into one GitHub documentation. Again, it is a work in progress. That one probably will be a forever work in progress, because everything new I will learn, I will be putting on there. So here's link to some of my Unreal Engine notes. that I gathered throughout, you know, me using Unreal Engine, etc. Some of the topics are just links to other talks or something like this, but some of them are like quick notes regarding basically everything that I was able to dig through that isn't maybe necessarily documented that well, or is, but sometimes I just don't remember where to search for it, etc, etc. So feel free to use that resource, fork it or whatever, pull requests, everything goes, right? So Dexterowski says, yeah, I tried to make my own system, and I don't know if my code was good or not, because I have physics setting messed up in the project settings. Oh yeah, that's a big one. If physics settings are set up differently, your code could be perfect, but it still might not be working. Although I'll be honest, I've been meaning to... what is this? Ah, it's a light, okay. I've been meaning to dig into physics a little bit more, chaos physics with the Unreal Engine, because I haven't really played with that too much. Okay, so the goal is to use PCG and grammar to maybe try to come up with how to build some of that procedurally. Today I have to end the stream 1 hour earlier, so it's not the full 4-hour stream. And probably there will be a part 3 to that, because that topic is a big one. Dexterowski continues. So I ended up with integrating plugin into my plugin, and that was the moment when I noticed about messed up settings. Ah, okay. Okay, so did you manage to fix up those settings? Or what exactly, which settings were exactly the problem? I do wonder, maybe we can all, you know, learn from that. Maybe we all set up our physics settings in a bad way. Okay, let's get to grammar. And one thing that I was able to fix offline in here. We have this, you know, quick spline splicer with the grammar there, right? It spawns things, etc, etc. Everything is fine, right? But the way it was working before, let me quickly go through here, was everything was scalable, right? Everything was set to scalable, everything was scaling according to the height of the module, right? So if I input 500 here, it will be this tall bad boy. If I put 100, it will be this small tiny boy, etc, etc. But I wanted some modules, some elements to not be scaled up or down. For example, doors. And I've managed to do this, so when I click scalable on doors, they are not scaled. If I click turn off scalable on columns, they will also be resized down. Oh my god, and Discord is so freaking loud. I'm sorry for that. Oh yeah! Dexterowski just joined my Discord. Hi! Nice, nice. Thank you, man. Dexterowski says, yeah, I fixed it up. I had turned on async substepping enabled, if I remember correctly. Ah, okay, okay. So you asynchronously was... You were substepping. Okay, okay. I didn't know that this setting would mess up physics. I was thinking that it is there to optimize the usage of physics and it should work, but I guess maybe it doesn't. Yeah, so I managed to process elements that I want to scale and elements that I don't want to scale, right? And let me quickly show you what was my error in all of that. Fence R&D? No, it was extract mesh info. No, apply. Yeah, I have this simple PCG that just takes spline data, takes the given grammar. Grammar, basically, I don't like this name, but I guess it comes from Houdini. It's basically telling the engine, telling PCG which modules you are using and in what way it should try spawning modules along the spline. You can be very specific. You can tell the PCG, hey, spawn this thing until you can't. Hey, divide this whole spline in such a way that in the middle there will be door, 2 columns on the side, and then spawn fences until you can't, until you reach the end of the spline one way or the other. So that's basically grammar, right? And you can do like stochastic choices, priority choices, etc, etc, etc. So I'm taking spline data, processing some of the attributes, right? And then I'm taking some of the symbols and assign meshes to them. I'm extracting info from meshes, and info is their bounds and their original pivot. Then that one is not needed. Then I am subdividing the spline and using module height as an attribute, and also using symbol as an attribute name for given module, and size for size, and whether it is scalable or not. And it creates data for me that then I can once again match with meshes and start spawning. But here's the trick. In order to make meshes actually scalable or not scalable, you need to process it further. And that part, post-processing to make it match with incoming meshes for scalable modules. How do you actually say this word? in proper English, not in Polish. That one was given by Epic, right? But they didn't give a choice to not scale your meshes. And I had trouble last stream with that. So here is how you actually do it. Because basically all of your spawning is based on the property of module height. You need to undo that damage because it's putting these spawn points above your spline and the desired height that you specified here. So that's where I need to undo that damage. Then, yeah, I need to undo that damage. Then I need to reapply the original extents from the mesh. Then I can rotate it, and then I can finally put it in the place of pivot. And that makes the option of non-scalable work. And then, you know, spawn meshes. Dexterowski says about my question with physics that I thought that async substepping would be okay. It would if you are not going to code the async physics. Ah, okay, so you were the one coding async physics and that was messing you up. Okay, okay. I get you, I get you. So, judging from the Unreal Source discussion and what you're writing here, I guess you will be having some kind of swimming or at least throwing objects into the water in your game, or maybe using boat or something like this. That's what I gathered from that. It seems amazing to me that, you know, you are trying to do those physics for that. I think, you know, it has potential. Not that many games are doing, you know, physics with buoyancy. Usually they are just faking it. So playing around with the real thing, I think it will be cool. Okay, so I managed to fix that from the previous stream. Now let's try to create what they were doing. So let's get back to demonstration or maybe overview level to see what modules they have actually. They have lots of modules. And we need to make sure which one are we choosing, because what we will be spawning... Actually, how this level is being constructed, that's how you kind of have to go about this. That's how I would approach it at work. If I'm not a tech artist, but if that was my goal to create PCG rules for easier spawning of buildings, I would ask artists to take all the modules. First of all, I would discuss the pivot rules to that stuff, right? That, hey, all of the pivots should be, I don't know, I remember watching the Matrix, the presentation from Epic about the Matrix Awakens demo that they did with Houdini, and 5.1, I guess, where they said that most important thing was to establish with the artist one thing. The lower left corner of the mesh is the pivot. Dexterovsky says, yes, I have floating objects, basic impact sounds, scraping sounds, particles, and a lot of stolen stuff from Source Engine. Okay, nice. Nice. Did you see the presentation that Nintendo engineers gave about sounds and physics from Zelda Breath of the Wild? That was some wild shit to me. The way that they basically simulate everything. When I was watching it, it gave me the vibes of like, hey, this looks like something Valve would do. This looks something straight out of Half-Life. The way they approach scraping sounds, wheels going through the terrain and changing their sound depending on what terrain they are going on and what they are made of, etc, etc. I will really recommend you. I think it is on GDC YouTube. I might find it quickly. Let's even get that. Is it that one? Shit. Yeah, it is that one. Let me quickly. Okay. Yeah, I really recommend you this. Even if you didn't like Zelda or maybe never played it, still some engineering techniques done there are super impressive. And I was thinking, yeah, if Valve was doing an open world Half-Life, I think they would approach it very similarly. Of course, different art style, different powers, etc. But the baseline is very similar. Dexterovsky says, oh, thanks for the link. No problem, my dude. No problem. Okay, now let's see how this thing is being built. What is actually that? That is... that is already created mesh. Okay. And that door already exists there? No, it's all fakey. That's smart. That's smart. So I guess that same thing is going on in here. Yep. Oh no, it's actually not a one object. It's like that. Okay. So I need to start making notes of what am I using here. This is like this type of wall. Okay, and in the place where the windows are, the door is being spawned. Or, yeah, doors wood 1. But it's funny because I don't see the handle on this door, and on the doors that I have spawned, there is a handle, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. And this thing is, oh no, it's not a one mesh, it's a whole balcony created out of this thing. Okay, so maybe I could just take this one whole module and copy it to my level, right? Is it like put in any sensible? No, it's not grouped. Shit. I hate where assets aren't that grouped, because now I cannot just copy it easily. Or I can just spawn my PCG here. Yeah, let's do that actually. Save current level as grammar demo reconstruction. Let's save it. Leksterowski says, in last days I'm trying to make breakable props via chaos destructibles. I've been there. But this shit is bugged as hell and basic stuff is not working, like overlap events on GC component. Preach! Preach, my brother. Yeah, like I had a stream about trying to make chaos destructible physics, and I remember I was stuck in one point and Barabash suggested, hey, ask ChatGPT or Copilot, and that bastard was of course wrong. He was hallucinating as fuck. And yeah, I learned that just following by what Epic says and using their meshes and their examples, yeah, it worked fine out of the gate, right? But then I tried to apply it for my game, and the funny thing is I made just this breakable simple shape that was supposed to explode when you shoot arrow at it, right? And I created that, and at that stream it was working. 2 weeks later, suddenly those objects started exploding on their own. I guess when I moved my project from 5.4 to 5.5. You start the level and they either explode on their own immediately, or when I shoot arrows at them, they're already in their maximum fracture instantly, right? Like you said, like some overlap event is being detected completely wrong and it just fast forwards things. I don't know how that works. I know that they have this whole, in their examples, this whole section connected to chaos physics, but I wish they would create like demo more like, what was the name of the demo? Electric Dreams? Yeah, like this one gameplay demo with lots of chaos destruction and physics, just to show us how should we set it up so all the events for all the components would be working, because it's not working that well, or at least it's hard to set up for us, right? So there's that. Yeah, so good luck with those, destructible physics. Fingers crossed that you will figure this out. For my game, I too will be coming back to those exploding stars, and I also want to make, breakable doors, etc. So I will also be getting back to this topic, and we can fight this thing together, man. Okay, I have this level, and let me start reconstructing. So, PCG, fence, R&D. And... oh yeah, because I placed the wrong thing. I wanted to place the actor, actually. And let's save that. Yeah, and let's create like the simple spline in the air. It can be in the air, I don't care. Wait. Yeah, I want to put this here. Yeah, let's just make it. Oh, it creates something already. Okay. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I can rotate it 180 that way, so we can see this stuff. And let's, oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to do this. You bastard! Working with splines. So painful. Dexterowski says, oh, that sounds like bug I found out. Check how object fractures when it is geometry collection actor and when it is a child of this class. Same settings, fractures way differently. Okay, it's a topic that can make you go insane, right? The exact same settings, it's just a child of that class and works differently. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I wonder, like, is it a bug in the system? And if it is, then how the fuck Fortnite and Lego Fortnite works? And how do they set it up? Or are we setting things up wrong? And if so, which little hidden fucking tick is responsible for that? I have no idea. Okay, so first things first. Let's try do one floor, one condemnation, right? So the way I would do it is I would take, for example, this, right? What is this? And let me copy that. This is some column. We will be using... No, we won't be using PCG assemblies yet. Right? This is some column. And this is some kind of wall. Okay. Done in that way. And from what I... this is so freaking clever. Someone who made that module is way more clever than me. Okay, so details were spawned like this. Okay. And once again, here there is just something like that. And in place of those arches, we will be spawning some of those details. But that will be done with different technique than grammar. This will be PCG assembly. Yup. And I will explain what it is in a second. And what is that? Okay, here's like vines. Let me move those vines away for a second just to see. Okay, that was that column. And this is just wall like this. Okay. What is this? Ah, it is done like that. Another thing like that. Okay. Let's move it all back. Dexterowski says, I reported regarding those physics. I reported this as a bug. For fucking 3 days I was trying to find out why this is happening without any results. Oh no. Oh man. Yeah, it might be a bug. I hope they will be able to, you know, see your message and report and fix the damn thing. Because otherwise, how are we supposed to work with that? Once again, the question appears. How do they set all of those destructibles up in Fortnite or Lego Fortnite? Okay, so that is something clever because it's just that wall combined with these arches, right? Am I able to select this stuff? Yes. It is just done like this and it gives this effect of... Okay. Okay, so let's start spawning. First of all, let me select my PCG. And let's change things. First of all, symbols. We will have completely different symbols. We will have this column, I guess, which I think I already have. Do I have this column? Yes, I have a column. And what size is this? That's a good question. I actually don't want to scale anything. I want to use exact scale as it has, right? So the size approximately in X is 180. That's great, right? If we set it up like this, okay, it's 180. So the size of that module also I will put as 180, although I can just select non-scalable and it will work the same way, I think. So okay, I have a column in here. Then we will have, but then again, how to spawn wall and this whole thing at the same time. I guess this wall behind it also will be spawned by PCG assembly. And yeah, I went and looked at Epic's presentation, how they created Matrix Awakening or Awakens demo, right? Because I wanted to see how they spawned. I remembered that they were using grammar in Houdini to create the city and to create the buildings, etc. But how did they spawn those details, right? And they were using Houdini's version of PC assembly, or should I say PCG assembly, is Epic's version of something similar in Houdini that the name escapes me right now. But that's how we'll be spawning those little details too, right? So first, let's just spawn. Okay, so I will just have 2 modules. Do I understand it correctly? No, not really, because there's another thing that I could use. A singular wall high. Okay, so what we'll be using is constantly changing between two-way double arch or single arch wall. Okay, so that's how we will be naming our modules. It will be single arch, also non-scalable, and double arch. And the column. And now we'll be assigning different meshes to that. Let's override all of these meshes. So single arch is this mesh. Let's take it. Oh, I see clicking on this stuff is going to be a nightmare. Okay. Then my double arch is that mesh. Can I get back to the BP? Yes, fence R&D. And nothing is getting spawned right now. That's great. Because I don't use grammar. Yes, I have different symbols and something different in grammar. Okay. And column will be that. So that mesh. Okay. Column mesh. There was a way to like pin that stuff, but whatever. Yeah, and let's assign that. And what kind of grammar do we want to use? How about right now we will go column, single arch, column, double arch, and column again. And nothing spawns. That's great. Did I mess up the names of that? No, not really. But I did mess up that I have this thing at the end. And okay, I messed up something with the grammar. But let's not worry. Oh, I said single arch it's scalable and then it spawned. If it's not scalable, then double arch it's scalable. Okay. And column as scalable. But I don't want column to be scalable. I want nothing to be scalable, really. So unless I put things as scalable, this shit won't spawn? Really? It cannot subdivide this? That's stupid. Or maybe those sizes I actually have to get from those meshes. Alright. 350. 350. Then column, I already said that it was 180. And wait. I messed up. 576 is the size of this. 500. And 350 is here. Okay, and still nothing. I have to put something as scalable for it to work? That's a bug. It's not even showing debug. Okay, I messed that up somehow. But I don't really know how. And it has this unfortunate pause in between. Okay. But what if I made column a little bit like, I don't know, 150, so it will mush it together. Not happening. Great. Oh my god! The way it scaled it. Shit. I don't want this to be scaled up like that. Okay, let's fix the whole grammar. Let's spawn, for example, just column and as much as you can. Why can I only spawn it if it is selected as scalable? That is something to ponder. Okay, let's go to the documentation because I'm messing something up. And let's get this onto the screen. AB combines modules. A and B is placed together. A and B means to place as many times as possible. Dexterovsky says, and you have now curiosity to the end of the stream. Yep, that might be something that will happen. There's some random choosing, but I don't want random choosing actually in this case. Okay, so maybe let's just do it differently. Column, single arch, that's it. Don't spawn anything else. And spawn it until you can't spawn it. Once again, I have to select something as scalable in order to make it work? That's weird. Why do I have to have something that is scalable in order to spawn anything? Can't you just wait? Let me... I remember there was one. Accept incomplete subdivision. Maybe that's the thing that is holding it back. Because... Yes! Oh my god. Woo! Dexterovsky says, this grammar shit looks almost like regx. It is regx, in my opinion. I have no idea why it is being called grammar. This is something that I see they've taken from naming convention from Houdini, which I never used, to be honest. But, yeah, if it was called, hey, it is spawning stuff based on regular expression, all of us would be like, ah, fucking hell, I know how to use that, right? Instead, I remember seeing PCG grammar. What the fuck is that? Seeing some demo of it and be like, I don't get it. I need to learn it. But yes, it is regx. Basically, regular expressions. Yeah, so the bug on my end was, there's this node, subdivide spline, that tries to always subdivide the spline in such way based on your modules and their sizes. So it will have an even number of subdivisions, right? So it will always be able to fit something in, and if it can't, nothing will be spawned. In my case, I don't need that functionality. So I had to set as true variable accept incomplete this subdivision. So it means if the given grammar doesn't fill the entire spline, well, it still spawns shit, right? So if the expression makes it not possible to fill all the spline, do that. Dexterovsky says, yeah, nice. Same thing is with actors. Why actors, not just game objects? That's the question that we would probably have to ask Tim Sweeney himself. because I believe this naming convention dates back to the first Unreal. That was released in '98 from what I remember. I guess it was his naming convention and it's still there. Maybe he chose it because he already had U objects, Unreal objects, and he wanted to differentiate between just a C++ object, then game actor that does stuff, animates, etc., etc. But right now we have lots of actors that the name actor doesn't belong to. I have no idea. Yeah, if I will ever be in a position where I could be on Q&A with Tim Sweeney, I will ask him this. Like, why did you name actor actor? He might rage quit over that. Yeah, okay, so this is column, single arch, and try to fill it until you can. Without that, it just won't spawn this thing. Okay, and column, single arch. And maybe also column, double arch. Is there a comma? There is a comma. And try to fill it like that. Okay, I have something going on. Although I wish it would choose randomly between those two. So I guess I have to put it in curly brackets. And I destroyed everything that way. That's great. Maybe I have to make it bigger. No. I wanted to make it select randomly from those things, but I guess I have to go like this. No. Okay. Now it's the correct grammar. It will try to randomly choose between those two modules. And it's almost what I want, right? I just don't want to have this freaking space between them. So I need to make kind of like a fake or whatever for column. Ah, great. Okay, what is the height of the column? 473. 473. It still scales to that? Ah, yeah, because I should do like module height and 473 here. And now I can fake the size here? No, it just ignores that shit. I can put like freaking 5 in here and it just does nothing. Okay, clean up, generate. No. Okay, in what way, shape, or form I can make sure that these objects are actually closer together? I want to force gluing those things together. Yeah, if it was just these walls would align super nicely. Right? But that's not the basis of our construction. As we can see in this level, the base of the or is it? Or is it? Wait, let's disassemble that shit. Maybe I looked at it wrong. Yeah, I looked at it wrong way. Okay, back to the drawing board. Let's use that mesh. Yeah, let's use that mesh as the basis of our construction. And maybe that brown one too. So, forget what I said. Yeah, that's what happens. Maybe Yeah. Mm. Mm-hmm. So maybe let's swap it out for the correct wall. Let's select this. Now it will be correct way of constructing this, I think. So all of those names are wrong, but whatever. And the other wall. Mm-hmm. Let's select. It's the same wall with just different material. That's interesting. Because yeah, it is exact same wall with just different materials slapped on it. It's interesting. That's one thing that I do wonder though. Like, can I make in this PCG randomly assign those different materials to that? But that's the question for later. Now, let's fix up so we don't use the double arch, because I guess the double arch will also be spawned via PCG assembly. So yeah, actually I don't need the double arch symbol at all. And I don't need that at all. I just need those columns and those walls. And I need to fix up my grammar because that shit doesn't exist anymore. And I don't really do any and don't scale my columns. Yeah, right. And still the question begets, I mean, if I turned off columns, maybe let's rename this as wall to make it, if I deleted columns, everything would be perfect, right? I would have my wall, perfectly aligned wall, right? But I so much want to have my columns in here. But okay, whatever. Let me quickly look at PCG right now and see, like, I have static mesh spawner in here and I have template descriptor, and I could choose to assign different materials depending on something, right? And we have a Twitch bot, best viewers, blah blah blah. Let me quickly delete this guy. Yep. And the guy is no more. Great. Okay, so yeah, I want to do this. I want to assign those different materials randomly a little bit. From what I remember, I need to add attribute here, right? Or create, first of all. A new variable in here. And it will be soft. Maybe material instance? No, it has to be soft object. From what I remember, it has to be soft object. Material instance, soft object reference, right? And let's test it out first, right? If I select Ah, but there are two elements in here, right? So that's not gonna work out, I guess. Or will it? No, I have actually two indexes. Huh. Material 0 and material 1. Colette says, hi, I hope the stream is going alright. Hi, yeah, it's going alright. I'm doing some R&D right now and learning about PCG grammar spawning, or as Dexterovsky pointed out, it's more like regular expression, but it's going alright. How's your Sunday going? How's your Sunday going, and what are your interests in Unreal? Yeah, let's try that by attribute material. Yeah, it doesn't have anything attributed here, so it will spawn no material overrides in here, right? But that's what we will do right now. We will create rename material 0 and just duplicate this. Can I duplicate this from here? No! Ah, the wonderful user experience with parameters in PCG. I'm not a big fan of that, but you know, we will make it work. Material instance, and we want soft object reference as well. And let's just choose those two things. Right? And let's add attribute everywhere, and let's call it and let's call it material 0 as I were. And now attribute is soft object path, and get material 0. This is what is happening in here, and why not? Okay, but you're supposed to be able to... What? Okay, let's turn that off, right? Can you give me those points? What the hell is going on? Cleanup, force generate. Why my debug doesn't work? Okay. From the scratch. I have it here, I have it here, I have here. Okay, maybe let's turn that off for a hot second. How can I work without debug? Colette says, way better than the last ones. I finally have some peace to tune in here. Oh, nice, nice. It's good to have a peaceful Sunday like that. It's really good. Then Colette says, Unreal is such a rabbit hole. Everything is worthwhile listening to. Yeah, tell me about it. Like, there's so much stuff. Like, I feel like I could quit my job and just go through all the presentations from all the Unreal Dev Fests just to learn, right? And then there are live streams of Epic. Then there are other people doing stuff. And then there is Unreal Source Discord, etc., etc. Rabbit hole, really. Dexterovsky says to Colette, that's the reason I'm not watching Netflix, but instead Unreal Engine tutorials. Yep. I'll be honest, I caught myself too, like, oftentimes being like, okay, I have a little bit of time, I could watch, you know, some series, or let me just, you know, click on something and maybe learn more about materials, or learn more about this and that in Unreal. And it's great because, you know, you don't have to subscribe and pay for anything, right? So that's great. But I'm wondering about one thing. Why? Right now I want to debug my attributes, right? And I have Everything set up here perfectly. Everything set up here perfectly as well here. Attributes added. Great. Match and set attributes. I still have them here, and for some reason no debug data after this node. And my question is, what the flying fuck? And I know it's working because the walls have been spawned, right? And suddenly, yeah, it just isn't working, which is great. Show debug. I completely don't understand what is going on right now. I am selecting the right. But these things do exist. Yeah, the debug works on them. I just cannot look at this data if it is assigned correctly. Great! The only way I can see if it is assigned correctly is... Wonderful, wonderful. So here's a little quirk in Unreal Engine 5.5 right now. For some reason, after, I guess, my own custom subgraph... Oh no, it's not a quirk. It's just for some reason I have 2 points data, and one is completely empty, and other one actually has some points. Okay, and the same will probably carry through here. But why? I don't know. And the same will be going on in here, right? Yep, and I have this material. Okay. Now let me delete this. Material, get one. An attribute as material 1. Can I debug it? Is it set correctly? Yep. And now I guess I can turn on my overrides. And it should spawn with different materials. But those materials also apply to columns. That's a nice bonus that I wanted. Not really, but it is a nice bonus. Colette says, the real problem is to resist watching and go do stuff. Tutorial hell hurts us too much. Yeah, the best way about it is to watch the tutorial and be like, okay, but let me try to do something of my own. Let's not repeat exactly what they did, or maybe let's just, click through things just to see where to click, but then let me try to do something on my own. You will hit the brick wall real quick. I do all the time. But then after you pass this brick wall, that's where you learn skills. Actually learn how to use stuff that they showed in tutorial. Or you learn that the tutorial was BS, right? Lekstadowski says, hopefully I do not have this problem. More I am looking for a solution and doing things by myself instead of watching tutorials. Yeah. Like, tutorials are great, in my opinion, for starting point. But then you should go on your own journey. I think, at least, that's how it worked for me, right? So, for example, I think I had this stream in the past where... What was it connected to? It was like 1 minute, like 90 seconds tutorial, and I spent 4 hours trying to repeat what the guy did, only to realize on the next stream that he omitted like 5 or 6 things. And only then I was able to use it, and at the end I realized the workflow was BS anyway. I should have done it differently. I think it was connected to real-time, runtime virtual textures and painting on them, and using that on your landscape. So it was using like render targets, etc. This whole setup, and for 4 hours I just couldn't make it work on stream. Next stream, next week, I realized, okay, these were the errors. I mean, these were the omissions from his tutorial. So 90 seconds or 120 seconds turned into 4 hours because he omitted something, right? And then in the end, it turns out that the workflow was BS anyway. I could have done it way simpler. Dexterovsky says, and then you are wasting time because you don't know how to apply the velocity for freaking particles of chaos destructible. Exactly, yep. Yeah, when you also, this is the double-edged sword of trying to do things on your own without tutorials. As Dexterovsky says, you are wasting time because you're trying to, you know, do something that you haven't seen. But then, you know, you learn, if you manage to figure it out, you know something, right? You learn something. So tutorials are a great starting point. That's why I like on this stream sometimes to take the tutorial and see if it is, first of all, if it still holds up, because new engine versions are constantly changing stuff. And then, is it a viable workflow for me or not? And what are the omissions from tutorials? Because that's something that always happens with tutorials. Someone thinks that certain piece of knowledge should be known to everyone, while it isn't. So you are spending hours trying to fix something only to realize that, yeah, there was like 4 checkboxes that he clicked outside of the tutorial, right? That is something. Okay, but there was like match and set attributes. There was like this node that was allowing you to take a couple of different possible values and maybe randomly choose between them. And why want to do this? Because I want to randomly assign materials in here, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I always had troubles using that node. Yeah, like, okay, let's try that. Point data, match attributes. I want material 0 input attribute, right? And now I want to do a quick little test. If this doesn't work out, I will, you know, jump onto the next thing with spawning, because I don't want to waste too much time on materials right now. So let me add like another graph parameter. Rename it to material 0 possibilities, and of course it is material instance soft object reference. But yeah, I get you, Colette, with all those tutorials and streams, etc. about Unreal and documentations and seeing what people did and trying to recreate this. Man, if I had money to pay my bills outside of work, I would probably be spending days just learning that. Never releasing a game, but constantly going through that. That would be fun. Okay, let's use that material, right? For example. And let's use the other one. Where is it? Yeah. I have no idea which one I clicked or not, but maybe I'm using the same 2 materials? No, not really. Okay, so I have this material possibilities, and now should I just go like this? No, error. Could not find attribute none. I'm not really sure how to use that. From attribute set to an input data, and that's what I thought I'm doing, but I guess it doesn't work that way. Oh, Okay. And what? Did it randomly select those materials? Okay, let me just see material 0. Did it work out? No, it just selected singular. I'm not really sure how I should do it. Controls with the selection is to copy. We done by more matching point to attribute set or done randomly. I want to do it randomly, but how do I select that I want it? Okay, I don't know how to do it right now. And I don't want to waste little time that I have for today's stream for just seeing materials. That might be for the next, working with materials, for the next stream. So yeah, so we'll be working without materials, these materials. No. These materials right now. Yeah, okay, so we have this. Now I'm wondering, should I use columns as a part of grammar, or maybe not, and use columns as a part of PCG assembly? Let's try both of these approaches, right? Yeah, let me take this BP fence R&D. Let's duplicate that shit, right? But in that one, I will not be spawning columns. I will just be spawning walls, right? Let's just spawn walls and let's start using PCG assembly. So, what is PCG assembly and how do you use it? It is an amazing approach to combine handcrafted by artists elements and their compositions and using those for procedural spawning. So you combine best of both worlds from the world of procedural generation and handcrafted artist composition, right? So the way it works with Unreal Engine is we're taking this one singular wall, right? Like, let's put it in front of it. And now we can just start moving other objects in here, like for example this arch. And then we can move this thing in here, right? And then we can move these elements in here. And maybe something else we could add. I don't know. Oh, there's this wooden thingy. We can set it up like this, right? And what else could we add to it? Yeah, maybe this vine as well, right? Let's add vine in here, right? So that way, yeah, that way. So now we can take all these objects Did I selected all of them? No. This, and of course our wall. Do I need our wall? Let me think about that. Or will I be double spawning? No, I will be double spawning. So let's not select the main wall. All of the decorative pieces I've selected, right? Now I'm just creating level instance. Yep. And I'll be naming it. How to name it? Level instance. Wall decoration, and let's say it is 0, first variant, so 0, right? ID. Let's name it that way. Yeah, apply to all. I'm not really sure what have happened right now, but I hope it worked out, right? Now we have this one singular level instance that we can edit at any moment, right? We can just select level, edit. It will allow us to add additional stuff, save it, and be done with it. And here's the cool part about that. Oh. Let's turn off this. Let's go into grammar, right? Yeah, we can save that. We can take our wall decoration, click right on it, asset actions, and create PCG asset from level. That way, it will change the level instance description of this composition into data set that will be understood by PCG. So that's how it we'll be calling it. PCG A, that's how I like to call it, PCG assembly, wall decoration 0 variant, right? And this is our, where is it? Yeah, and this is our PCG data asset. You don't really see too much stuff in here, except with like description, what kind of data is there, etc. You can assign some color to it, debug color or whatever. But that's not important. What is important is that right now I can take my what is going on in here? Ah, yeah. Turn off the override. I can take my PCG graph. I can take my PCG data asset, put it in here. And at this moment, I have this composition put in here. And what is beautiful about that is I have all of the positions, all of the scales, all of the bounds, the seed, material, and meshes put in here, right? And their materials. Yeah, I already said that. And that way, I will show you something cool. Let's say, for example, I could split right now. No, I don't need to split because I'm only spawning walls, right? That's the deal here. I'm only spawning walls in here. So these points, dataset name points, describe all of the composition that I created, right? So right now I could just do copy points. These are my source points, and copy them in this place, and voila, I do have all of these meshes put exactly where I wanted them to be. But here's the kicker, something is missing. Right now we don't have mesh information, right? But we do. Here is the mesh information. What should be spawned where, right? And that way, we can just turn that on, delete that one, go by this. Either we could assign it to the regular static mesh spawner, or we can just copy it if we don't want to deal with those settings. But we can start spawning it, and yeah, results aren't that great. I need to fix bugs, but the idea is that this composition should be spawned in every place of the wall, but for some reason there is some angle to it. And this is the bug that I will be fixing right now. Because it shouldn't be like that. But the other cool thing about this is that where is this? PCG point data. Right now density is set to 1 everywhere, and I think I can speed noise for this density. Right now it will have different values for density, and then density filter. So not every wall will have exactly the same details. They will be spawned at random, right? So let's put this in here. Now some of the walls will have nothing, some of the walls will have everything, but for some reason, there's another thing. It just spawned. Okay, I have some bugs in here, but as you can see, not every detail will be spawned at every place. It will be selected by random. But one thing that bothers me right now is, why is it facing the wrong way? And why is it at this weird freaking angle? That's the bug to fix. Okay, first of all, let's transform those points. Okay, that's not what I want. Transform points. That's what I want, and I want you to transform this 180, 180 in here. And now it should have correct. Yeah, it is facing the correct way at least. But for some reason, the angle is messed up right now. What is this angle? I guess it takes the angle from the spline instead of being spawned as it is. This is what I think might be happening. Okay. Let's fix that, shall we? Because there was like get spline data, subdivision spline. Okay, yeah, it has to take rotation from that stuff. So I guess we need to transform direction. Yeah, the same way I did in here. But not really. Huh. I wonder though, is it taking point from a spline? Like, let's take this right now. I took the wrong thing. Yeah, it is at angle. It's weird. And I think it does take. Yeah, because it is. Okay, I guess I used it at the wrong moment. Because instead of. Yeah, I should have rewrote. Or it may be wrong, huh? No, it's actually. What if I didn't transform direction? For a hot second. Let's try this out. Nah, it's still wrong. So I'm not sure where does this rotation come from, really. for now, I guess I could, what I could do? I could just, you know, do the stupid thing, which is like, hey, let's just add, I don't know, 20 degrees to that shit. Oh, actually maybe 100. No, it's wrong. 140. Yeah, I could just eyeball it, right? But I'm not sure if it will work out. I can just go create quickly attribute. Create attribute for that. And just put it in here for easier manipulation. And it should be a vector. 180 going in here. Right? Oh, whoa! Ah, I put it in offset, of course. It should be in rotation. What is your problem right now? Eh? Okay, I don't get it. Yeah, let's eyeball it. Let's see what... Because pivot is right now changed. Let's just eyeball it, man. Not that way. Almost. It's 150? No, 160. Why is it... And still, not every point is solid and it's in front of this shit. Like, Yeah, Dexterovsky is right. It should be rotator, not vector. Thank you. Thank you, my dude. That's why it wasn't working out. And here. Yeah. So now I'm able to eyeball it this shit once again. But it's still... There's some offset to it that shouldn't be here. Dexterovsky says, I think it was the reason the warning showed up. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I just sometimes forget that the rotator and vector are two different things. Oftentimes, because it's just, you know, free components. It looks like vector, so I often make this mistake. Okay, so for some reason, there's like a little bit of rotation problem and an offset problem. It's not spawning exactly when it is copying this stuff. It introduces some offset there. Let's change this as well, shall we? Let's eyeball it, and then I will maybe spend some time trying to find out why there is such offset. So this one actually will be vector. And yeah, I guess looking from the... It will be like y. For some reason there's 150 of offset in the y value. But for fans it is different, and for... Oh my god, it's all kinds of messed up, but at least right now it is working a little bit better. But that's not the actual solution, you know? That's not the way it's supposed to be working. And maybe let's put density filter at 0 right now. Let's spawn everything everywhere. And from what I saw, I have to forget to include this into the level. Oh no. Okay, whatever. And the funny thing is, the bigger this is, the more... It is like some points are rotated correctly, some points are not rotated correctly. Or maybe meshes are facing the wrong way. It's more likely that. So let's again take 0 or like minus 60. No, what the freaking hell? Okay, 0. Let's eyeball this shit once again. $20. And then it is aligned in here. Okay, something weird actually happened after copying it. Yeah, I have these assets set up in here, right? Like right here. This assets, put them to the scene by hand and check the orientation of them. But yeah, you might be right that the orientation in here might have been wrong, but can I just select? Whoa. Okay. I selected this wall. Why is it showing it as multiple values? That's interesting. But yeah, something weird has happened. Yeah, I will try to recreate this just by hand, not just by taking this out. And yeah. Yeah, I will try to do this. I just need small break to get my beverages and stuff. So god damn, the error. So loud. I need a small break, so I'll be back in a second. So see you soon. Alright, I'm back. Okay, so. As Dexterowski suggested, I will try to recreate this scene out of the box because some rotations might be wrong and also there might be some pivot problems. Like for example, when I was watching by their I mean Epic's presentation about the Matrix Awakening, they had to set up strict rules for artists for pivots because they said otherwise things could get messed up real quickly. So yeah, maybe let's assemble that shit out of those elements once again. Well, let's take this wall and let's just put it like in here. Huh, that's interesting. Already the rotation is kind of fucked up on that one. So it's facing like the other way around after putting it on level. Is it the same way in here? Nah, not really. Okay, but let's take right now this mesh. Not this mesh. Oh my god, it's... They stole this mesh from me. Yeah, here it is. Let's just put it by hand. Let's recreate all of that stuff by hand. Dexterowski says, I finally managed how to apply the velocity for freaking chaos objects. In CPP, of course. Oh, nice! Funny thing, set linear velocity was not working, but there was apply linear velocity, which works. I can feel your pain. And laughter. Oh. Great. I can feel your pain and laughter. You would expect that set linear velocity would set velocity of particles. Nah, apply. I guess maybe it makes sense in some way, shape or form because maybe apply linear velocity tries to applying it, but and if physics says no, then they won't break or something. But yeah, I guess I'm just, bullshitting right now. Let's take this whole mesh, yeah, and put it there. Yeah, all of these meshes are facing that way after putting them into the world. Yeah, let's just use those 3 elements. If this whole thing is cool, then if that thing will work out, I will try to add additional stuff, right? Let's create the PCG assembly out of those 2 elements. Maybe I went overboard with it. Level, create level instance. Yeah, because there was a warning there about certain meshes being part of group actors or whatever, which I thought they weren't, but it looks like they were, and maybe that messed up something. I'm not sure really. Wall decoration 1. So Dexterowski, I guess right now the velocity works for your chaos objects. Does it solve all of your problems or? And wait. One thing just flew by my head. Does that mean that apply linear velocity doesn't exist for BP and you can only do it in CPP? Because if so, that means that kinda chaos might not be usable outside of C++. That is weird. Now that is our level. Let's get back to let me turn music down a little bit. Let me create my PCG assembly. PCG assembly. Yeah, I have it, but you know what? I will do one freaking test before I start applying it to Spline, just to see if I'm not insane. Let me quickly create a PCG that will be called PCG grid assembly. Assembly, not assembly. Assembly. Right? And what it will do, it will just create points grid, right? Like that. And local space. I don't know. Let's have it 2000 by 2000 by 2000. Yeah, whatever. Then let's take our new PCG. Let's copy points. Right? The source is this. The target to copy to is this. And now let's static mesh spawner by attribute mesh and material, right? Let's create this quick simple PCG. It should produce, of course, let's add debug. It should produce a grid of points wherever I will spawn it, right? Let's put it like Dexterowski says it is exposed. Oh, okay. So chaos is usable for BP. But it's funny how set linear velocity doesn't work. I was trying to come up with some logic for it, but for why it might not work, but I think it's bogus. My logic. Dexterowski says, honestly, it didn't fix anything because you should use physics proxy, which is data flow between game thread and chaos thread. But making things this way do not work for me either. Ah, I forgot this whole thing that chaos has its own thread and you should use, oh my god, yeah, it's a world of pain. I'm sorry, man. It's a world of pain. I completely forgot about that shit. But I do wonder one thing though, right? There's game thread and chaos thread. But what if you are working with dedicated server and most of the dedicated server are one thread only? Then the chaos thread doesn't exist, right? It is a part of the regular frame. Then those physics probably won't be processed correctly on dedicated server. That's a topic for another moment. Yeah, let's get back to business. Grammar. Grid assembly. Yeah, show me this shit. I think I went way overboard with this grid. And maybe a little bigger. Maybe even more bigger. But let me see if it spawned it correctly. Or is everything broken? No! As we can see, I think it looks exactly how I set it up in my level instance. Where was it? Yeah, it's in here. Let me take my whole level instance here. Just, oh my god. Just for comparison. Huh. Actually, it doesn't. Ah, yeah, because it spawns 2 points at the same moment. Okay, like. It should spawn only 1, right? Right now. Yeah. And yeah. It is exactly as I set it up in level instance, right? So, okay. So I'm not crazy. If I'm spawning it using grid, it works out okay. Great. Now let's spawn this on our spline. So we will use another wall decoration created by hand. And okay, it still is rotated a little bit. Don't know why yet. And there is a slight offset to it, if you will see. And the thing is, also the other thing is, if I will just move those points in here without... What? It spawns perfectly if I don't rotate it at all. But it's... What am I doing wrong? Dexterowski says, if I get applying velocity to work on chaos thread, I will check it out. Because it is interesting. I am going to the shop. Be right back. Okay, sure. That is interesting topic, right? With the velocity. Yeah. Yeah, I should plan some chaos physics stream. I want to include some chaos physics elements with the game that I'm working on the stream, but you know, we will see how that will go. Okay, so what I see right now is if I will transform this, or maybe let's not do any transformation. Let's just apply it as it is, right? Whoa, that is something interesting. Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I assembled it by hand, there is no other problem other than 180 degrees. So, okay, there was some problems with rotations after I just took it from level and it was grouped up, etc. You should always assemble things by hand, not just taking it from a level. Lesson learned quite painfully. Lesson learned quite painfully. So, right now I can just fix the rotation by just doing... No, I don't need to do this. I need to do this. 180, bank. Bank. And it doesn't exist. Woo woo woo! I completely fucked it up. Or I didn't. Okay, what is going on right now? I have trouble understanding. Is it the offset thingy? Once again? Oh, I didn't have to rotate it. Okay. So it is the offset. So let me just put slight offset to it and we're almost golden. I think now we're golden, right? Yeah, now we're golden. And what we could do right now is actually use the density filter. So it will be more random that way. Or I could divide things. So for example, all these columns will be... All these columns will always be there, right? This is something that I could do right now. Yeah. So when I look at, let's delete this bad wall decoration. Let's look at this point data. And let's look at this. You know what cool trick I could do right now? Look at this shit. Let me show you another cool trick with the PCG assembly. I'm taking this level instance, I'm editing it, and I'm taking just this wall high, right? And I'm typing in tag, right? And I'm putting an actor tag here, which is double arch. And you will see what will happen in a second. I'm saving this. Let's get back to the PCG. And nothing. I should have had a completely new tag in here called double arc. Do I need to regenerate this or something? No, it's supposed to be the last utmost. Huh. Oh yeah, I saved the level instance, but I didn't convert it to PCG asset yet. So let me take this once again, asset action, create PCG assets from level, resave it, yes. And now I have a new data here, double arc. And that way, for example, I can just attribute filter, right? And I can just use equal. I can just use double arc in here, use constant threshold, and have it be true or not true. And that way, I only want to have things that are true in here, right? But let's use it here before density filter, right? Inside the filter are all the double arches. Outside of the filter is everything else, which is awesome because right now I can just do randomization on this and not affect our arches. And that way I will have arches all the time. Meanwhile, the rest of the details will get randomly selected, right? So let's work a little bit more on this instance. Let's take maybe, yeah, let's take a couple of meshes. Let's actually create a scene out of that stuff, right? Let's turn off the tag, wood plank, great. Let's get to our level instance that we were creating. Let's open it up. And let's bring in the wooden planks. And maybe we could add some more details in here from this stuff. Like, for example, yeah, wood. We can add barrel in here or maybe 3 barrels. And here, right? Let's add more stuff to it. Like some broken barrel somewhere in front of it. Right? Like some wooden box. We can actually change scale in this. rotate it a bit, right? Let's add some more details, right? So this one thingy. Let's add this, maybe. Yeah. And that way I can just, you know, build stuff that I consider interesting, right? Within the reality of that world. Metal, is there something metal? Cool metallic thingy? Yeah, I can add some wooden chain, and let's just go like this. And then I could maybe add some more details. But I think you can see what kind of workflow you can have. Like construct, you know, like this wall, add all the details to it. Then you can tag what you want, for example, put as randomization, what you don't want to put as randomization. Like for example, I could also tag, I could change tags. For example, instead of double arch, I could say do not randomize this. No random, for example, right? To my wall. And that's what I will actually do. I will change it to no random, right? And I also don't want this to be random because I think in this reality, you know, the lights will be placed quite evenly. What else do we have here? Some lamp base. Yeah, this also will have no random. What else can I put in here just to show off how cool this concept is? This is some lamp. This is some weird... Ah, this is this kind of lamp. Okay, so sorry. Let's put this in here. But it doesn't work that way. Okay, this is something weird. Doesn't matter. We have like some details in here, right? And let's add something a little bit different, maybe. Metal pipes. Yeah, the pipes are big one. I want to test out something in a little second. Will I have time? Yeah, I will have time. Because I want to, in a second, I want to create points that I will try to get from this assembly, create a spline out of it, and put the spline mesh of pipe going in and out. We'll see how that will work out. But let's add some other elements to it. Yeah, like for example, we can do like a pipe connector in here somewhere. Like put it in here. Okay, thank you. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, it doesn't have to make super lot of sense, but you know, still. Yeah, rocks. No, these are not the rocks that I'm looking for. Roof. These are parts of the roof, right? Rubble. Yeah, I could put the rubble on top of the box. It's looking stupid, but whatever. Oh my god, where the hell did I put this? Yeah, I can put it like here. And I want some green stuff. Water. Nah. Windows. No, I don't want windows. Wire. Oh, that's nice. Wood. I already had been in the wood. Interior wood, okay, no fog, no buildings. Where was this vine coming from? Ivy, the whole different. Yeah, so let's put like vine somewhere. That's a bad vine. It's angled and shit. Yeah, hanging on the corner. That one is quite alright. Yeah, and let's have one like this. Yeah, the more details you add, the more you could strip out by random selection, right? So I can also have another one like this, right? And there's another powerful idea attached to using PCG assembly. It's that you can take this data and swap all those meshes out. I don't think I will have time to do this on this stream, but I want to show it off for the future. Yeah, and let's save this. Let's save this whole thing, right? We saved our little level instance. Right now, let's resave it, of course, as PCG asset. And just after replacing it, it should already, and we can see on our grid that it is already respawning. And we see that this shit is spawning in here as well. Some of it doesn't make sense, like the rubble can spawn in the air, right? So I should probably create some rule set where the rubble always spawns only where the box is, etc, etc. These two also should always come together. They should never be spawned not together without this, but you get the idea, right? Yeah, and we need to change a little bit because right now the attribute that we'll be filtering by is no random, actually, where there will be no randomization. And now we can see all the lights are spawned as they were, and this little thingy near them, and all of our arches are also spawned that way. So now we could, let me just move this grid somewhere else. Let me move our level instance. And now I can just take this spline point, extend it further, and it will automatically create this thing. And now to test out the corners, how it will behave. It actually behaved quite nicely. As you can see, it bended quite nicely. I could try to make it more steep, but I'm not sure if I can get the perfect sharp angle with that. With that particular spline processing. That one I think I can delete. Because I see that, yeah, I wanted to spawn walls and columns with the grammar spawning, but I see working against the grain just to make this connector disappear is pointless, really. Yeah, and we can see actually it spawned this thing quite nicely. Here is when I would put the column, right? So maybe that's what I will do exactly. So let me once again open this level up. And first of all, maybe let's delete this rubble because that was a stupid idea. I just wanted to show off something. Yeah, and let me add the column in here. Meshes. buildings. Yeah, I want this type of column like at the end of every wall. Yeah, I want something like this. Now let's resave it. And the workflow is quite quick. You could still probably create like custom tool, I think, to make it even faster. Because right now I have to go asset actions, update PCG assets. You probably create quick tool that would you would just click and it will do automatically all of this shit for you. Huh. I can just click update PCG assets and it will work. It actually did. I have columns right now. Oh, I just realized something quick. I just realized quicker thing. Instead of clicking and resaving, I can just click update PCG asset. Great. Okay, let me delete that one because that's not needed. And maybe let's create this building, actually. And let's close it up. This will be like this weird building. And let's select this as closed loop. And now we have our first floor of building that you cannot enter into, but as you can see with PCG assembly, I was able to add some quick details and it starts to look like something. Of course, it's the building in the middle of the ocean, so you know, that's that. But I could probably use... Oh no, it's too big. Yeah, I'm wondering if I can just use that mesh. Pier, base, cut. In order, in my thingy to create some ground. Let's try it out, shall we? Let's just add it in like here. Let's rotate it 90 degrees, 180 degrees. Let's put it in here. So we can have our ground floor, right, going on. I'm terrible at level art, as you can see. But I'm just trying to find out the workflow for this stuff. Yeah. Let's save it. Let's get back to our data. Let's create asset actions, update PCG asset. And almost. Freaking almost. It almost works out. We have some problems in here. Like for example, oh, that's a big problem. That is something to work out. If it was supposed to go to the shipping game, right? Here it misses this thing as well. I wonder why though. It doesn't want to spawn this shit. Questions for later. Because in all honesty, I don't need ground to be spawned like this. I could just set up ground like that with those big meshes, right? Or have some landscape, etc., and just place my goddamn building on that. So it was just an experiment to see if I could do something like, if I could have a workflow where I have a area of water and that way creating some building in the middle of it, but it doesn't make that much sense. Yeah, it would be actually better to just spawn with PCG, either grammar or not grammar, these meshes to create the bedrock for this building, then maybe place some foundations via spline, and then maybe place an actual building or something like this. Okay, so let's delete that, because that workflow doesn't make much sense. And now asset actions, update PCG asset, great. Yeah, there are kinks to work out here, like for example, assigning random materials to the wall in the back, making sure that certain assets always spawn together. So for example, if I have this thing, those two holders will also spawn. So there's one thing to work out, because if this shit is not really working out, just being spawned, it doesn't make sense to have this without those holders, those legs, without this blockade, right? So there's this thing. Let me actually write that shit down, right? I like the old school, you know, notepads. So and yeah, before that, yeah, let me spam those links. And yeah, like the kinks to work out. I'm writing it down because right now I want to jump on the subject of creating a second floor and maybe a third floor, etc., etc. And spawn completely different PCG assemblies there. Or maybe I should go back to the pipe. I have approximately 30 minutes or 35. I don't know which topic to choose right now. Things to work out. Random materials and grouping logical assets by tag. Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to do something more like pipe, more flows. Ah, yes. Yep. Yeah, so I'm writing this down right now because after stream I will have to exit house like immediately, and I am a forgetful little guy, so you know. This shit happens. Okay, maybe let's start building the next floor. And the pipe idea of creating spline points spawning spline pods and then recreating a new spline for pipes. Yeah, let's do it when we will have more floors, right? So let's get back to here. There is a PCG for building sample, right? When they are taking spline data and creating buildings, etc. And let's explore how they did it. They have extrusion vector, and then they are duplicating cross sections. Then they are forcing some direction. And then they are turning the spline to segments. They are assigning some size to bounds. They are doing grammar, and then they are subdividing the segment, doing the post-processing, etc. Okay, let's try to follow that logic. So we have new attribute called building height. It's called PCG fence R&D, but you know, whatever. It's not shippable PCG graph, so let's forget that. And let's rename this shit to building height, just as dated, right? And let's put it as default 800, right? And what Epic did is they are duplicating this cross section, and they have extrude vector, right? So they are adding attribute of new attribute like that. Oh, and it's a vector. That's weird. Extrude vector. Okay, let's do what they did. They have this whole grammar, module height, etc. I don't really care for that, but so this is like the first floor, right? Or ground floor, or however you want to call it. All of this, ground floor. Now we'll be trying to make additional floors. Let's group those things in here. And add attribute, extrude, and how they did it actually. They just took it and added attribute, building height, etc. Okay. So building height, let's do exact same thing. And let's add this attribute. Let's see, are we the golden still? For some reason not, but we didn't select it. The thing. And we have this attribute of extrude vector 800. That is great. So, then they are doing like grammar. Okay, I don't want to do grammar yet. But they do like, And then they are having another grammar with some criteria, etc. That is interesting how they did it. Mesh info, right? This is superbly interesting. Because then they have these kind of information, so they do have to have some grammar, right? Okay, let's maybe copy that. Why not? We will change this example in a hot second. And there should be this grammar for additional attributes, right? Yeah, let's just, for now, let's copy it. Just like we did in the previous stream when we were copying stuff and then changing it completely. Because we have one graph that creates ground floor, and now we will have another graph, and it created something. I'm not really sure what yet. Then they are forcing clockwise, then they are splining to segment. And then they're doing another subdivision. Okay, let's just copy that, all of that stuff for now. And how about we actually show the debug of it? There is a grammar, there's symbol, main floor. Show me the debug of it. Ah, it actually... Whoa, the way it created those points is freaking wild. Because it did it at the angle, and if we were to take... Dexterovsky is back. Hi, you solved it? Yeah, I did. You were right. I took the meshes straight out of content browser and assembled them myself into level instance, and it worked out. I guess those meshes in here had to be some deep nested hierarchies, so their rotations were all kinds of fucked up. And when I assembled this little thing by hand, I was able to spawn it perfectly, just add a little bit of offset. And then I was able to create the logic so things are spawning randomly, as you can see right now. Some of it doesn't make sense, so for the future stream there's an idea of like, hey, okay, I need to group these assets together, so when this whole thing is being chosen to spawn, this whole blockade, it will spawn as a whole, not just these two elements, or just or just these, you know, wooden planks, etc., etc. So you are right, Dexterovsky, thank you. You were 100% right. And now I'm trying to build the second floor using the Epic's example. But already I'm seeing I'm having wild results, because let me show you this. Let's bring their example from building sample. In here, right? Oh, I should have BP building sample, yes. There's like this thing, and I can just start moving this stuff. Oh my god, the spline there is awful right now. Yeah, but the idea is that let me quickly fix up that line as well. Ah, no, they have something wonky going on in their stuff as well. Huh. Okay. Yeah, the idea is if we will get inside of this thing, red means the ground floor, green means next floor, next floor, next floor, next floor until you reach the end, right? Basically, that's how it was supposed to set up, right? And all these points are supposed to be extruded just upwards, right? Just upwards, and that's it. Mine points, first of all, they are angled in a funny way. So I don't know what kind of floor they will produce, but not the one that I would want. Yeah, so this is the Epic's example for that. Let's go further along the line. Debug floors, debug modules. Yeah, debug floors and debug modules is set it turned on, right? Yeah, great. So now we already are seeing things not really working the way we want to. Yeah, if we right now do this, yeah, we see that it created the floor in a really weird way. All of it is angled and I have no freaking clue why. Like for real. So if I started spawning along those lines, the building will be funny. Dexterovsky says, oh my god, I think I prefer the old way of level design by brushes and gold Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, Ctrl-V method. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, the idea here is that, you know, tech artist sits down, creates this PCG graph, and then level artist just, you know, just like in this case, just spawns these things, moves around, and they are self-adjusting, already spawning proper decorations, etc. That is kind of an idea, right? And right now I'm trying to by hand create the graph that will try to reassemble some of that. But I wonder how I could make these things go outside like this. I'm not sure if that's possible, but you know, we will see. But yeah, there's a lot of work involved in creating these kind of automatic graphs. And right now I need to understand why is it like that? What if I put it as 1800? Whoa! I think I saw a picture of a building being built like this in Greece, like some kind of hotel or something like this. Like this angled steep stuff. Dexterovsky says, yeah, but I see the usage of this for things like railing, roads, vents, and any other repeatable stuff. Yeah, 100%. That's what I think it is being used for. In the Matrix Awakening demo, they used it basically to just spawn buildings that would be there with all of its decorations, etc., and roads, connect pipes, etc., etc. I don't think it really should be used for like the actual gameplay level design. It's more for like, okay, here's a building that will, you know, be going up. Here's the fence. Here is, you know, vents, etc., etc. Yeah, that's what I would say. It might be a layer above the brush. I think I remember seeing some Doom 2016 presentation, but I might be speaking out of my ass right now, where they had like this brush based corridor builder when you could just, you know, build a level as you usually would, and on top of that some kind of generator that would generate all the pipes and all the details and connect them together, right? So the level designer was still working, you know, with brushes, and then this kind of thing was being used kind of as a post process to it, and it was connected to Houdini or something like this. I remember seeing it and thinking like, whoa, that's actually quite nice for all the repeatable, you know, laboratory corridors in Doom 2016, right? Because all the custom outside elements, yeah, they still have to be done in a different way. Yeah, well, I'm just exploring this workflow, like, is it viable, how does it work, etc., etc. I'm not sure if I will use that in the game that I'm making, or maybe I will, if, you know, I will have some repeatable stuff to use. Okay, but let's figure out. I have a strong suspicion about one thing. That their spline is set up in a different way. Show me your spline. Override construction script. Draw debug. Closed loop. Default up vector. Reparam steps per segment. Adjust tangents on snap. Okay, these are the values. I don't know what duration is. Spline and duration in seconds. I don't think I understand this variable, but whatever. Okay, now my spline. Shit, it's exactly the same. Okay, so their spline is set up in the same way as mine. Yep, they have great angles. I don't. Ah, yeah, because they are just using this subdivide segment stuff instead of what I am using for the ground floor, which is just subdivide spline. This might be the reason. But still, when I'm creating the other floors, it shouldn't be going like that. Okay. Now there's select grammar. When depending on the main floor value, it will be selecting different grammars. Okay, I can just copy that stuff for now. Module info. Here's an idea. Take the screenshot of your BP, post it on DeepSeek, and ask it why your generation is angled. Do I need to register for DeepSeek? I don't remember. I don't have a DeepSeek instance running on my PC. So I would have to register or something like this. And Barabash Harde, hi. How is your day going? Did you just woke up? Barabash Harde says, I think you need to create an account. Yeah, maybe for the next stream I will. Yeah. We'll see. I'm not sure if it will be able to figure that stuff out for me, but maybe. But I also like the challenge of figuring things out on my own. It's a brain puzzle. Okay, but subdivide segment and select grammar. Okay, let's use that. I don't think I have this module info set up in the same way. Yeah, so it might not work out that way, but okay, doesn't matter. Select grammar. Where was mine? Let's spawn this here. Maybe this will fix the angle. No, not really. It's still fucked up. So if I will try to spawn along that line, it will be all messed up. Shit. Barabash Harde says, no, I woke up earlier and was lurking your stream from the start. Oh, nice. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So. What should I do about this stuff? Because where's the moment of a fuck up? That's what I'm willing to find out. I guess it has to be this. Duplicate cross section. Immediately it's a fuck up because it's extruding it upright. Okay, let's take this spline point. I have an interesting idea. No, it does nothing. Although the effect is quite cool. How it is untangling, it makes me think of Inception movie and its effects. Dexterowski says, I asked DeepSeek earlier about how to apply correctly velocity at chaos particles. It threw out a whole book of shit information. Yes, Yes. I mean, yeah, AI is helpful. I've seen, how people use it, and I've seen programmers use it even for, game development. But I also seen how people are saying, well, DeepSeek, ChatGPT for Unity, Godot, great. For Unreal, it's fucking up. I remember on stream one time here, actually connected, I think I already said that, to Chaos Distraction thingy, and I asked Copilot. It was Copilot back then, and it also produced some shitty information. And Barabash Hardy says deep shit. Okay, so the problem here is not that the spline point is curved, it's angled in a weird way, or that it has different weird tangent or something like this, right? No, not really. Nothing really changes that much when I do this. But here's the point of a fuck up. Like immediately, I'm just creating attributes, creating grammars, and immediately it gets fucked up. Let's see why it might be. I have main floor here. Can I actually maybe like Dexterovsky says, if there are no public accessible informations, it won't help. About deeps. I wanted to say deep shit. DeepSeek. Because it is just advanced search engine. Yeah, yeah. Or examples. That's the reason it works for Unity and Godot. Yeah, I guess if, both Unreal Source on Discord and UDN, Unreal Developers Network for licensees, if someone allowed any of those LLMs there to learn from those answers, it would probably be way better with helping out with Unreal. But then again, the updates from version to version, it would have to be retrained every, new release. And then there are plugins that people are using, so yeah. Attribute filter. We want this, and the attribute I want is symbol, and I want to filter out, I guess it's the string. I want to filter out everything that is main floor, and matches, right? And that way, yeah, and I want only things outside of my filter to be debugged. Like this. Right? Then at some point data I will have, yeah, that's what I want. So these are my lines, and they are completely skewed. Okay. Dexterovsky says, that sounds like a good idea. It would be the best documentation ever then. Yeah. Yeah. It would be like having a epic programmer or epic employee sitting beside you, and you could pester them about stuff from the engine. Maybe, maybe the, Epic will provide some kind of AI for that. Who knows what's inside of their heads? Okay, but the thing is also, like, the first line is spawned way too early. I wonder why. So let's get to the... Before we even start making any spline directions, we need to figure that shit out. Because once we figure, first of all, why the first floor is in the middle of a ground floor, and why it's all skewed, then we're in the money. And I'm finishing this stream in 8 minutes. So yeah, the chances are I won't do it that fast. But let's see, main floor is 300. Well, maybe it should be a little bit bigger. Like, what's the actual height for... yeah, 473. Let's paste it in here. That should fix the first floor. No, it doesn't. It completely doesn't. Fuck! Why? Does this fix it? Not really. Okay. And building height is 1800. Okay, that's great. But still, I just have spline indexes. I don't really have anything that would change anything about this skewness. Duplicate cross sections. What the hell is going on in here? And they're not doing too many. Barabashhadi says, oh, we'll need to wait for an actual AI that can open Unreal Engine, analyze it, and figure out answers itself. Oh yeah, but if that happens, then basically, I don't know, it feels like if that happens, then you don't need designers, programmers, or anyone, right? Barabashhadi says, is there a chance that the next generation point is moved in 2 axes instead of 1? It doesn't look like an angle problem. Yeah, I mean, I'm using the shorthand of saying angle because when you look at it, it is angled, but that's what I'm thinking about, that it is being extruded in couple of axes. And I think you might be on the money because I'm inputting extrude vector and it's supposed to be double, right? But then in duplicate cross section, it is treating it as a vector, so I guess they were right. Like, show me this. Barabbas, you pointed me into the right direction, of course. I should have turned it into not double, but yeah. This thing, the building height, will become a vector right now. 1800. Or should I rather say make vector attribute? Wait a second. Better version. Float 1800. Vector, actual normal vector. I mean, not normal. Free component vector. And then put it in here. Now it should be fixed. Barabbas, you're a golden boy. Did I told you that you're a golden boy? Yep, you pointed me into the right direction. You pointed me to exact right direction. I was completely in the wrong. Yep, I just should have followed the Epic's example on this case. Those are those brick walls that I was talking about with collets. That, you know, you're following the example, you try to do something on your own, you fuck up, and then you learn that, yeah, extrude vector is that. But it's also kind of cool if you think about it, because it means if it is working like the regular extrude from Blender, you could create really weird, fucked up buildings. Not only pointing up, but going angles. Oh my god. Yeah, some tech artists could go haywire with like alien architecture with that shit. Nice one. Nice, nice, nice. This is a nice idea. So that error actually inspires me. In my game, if I will have like some fantasy direction or whatever, I will do exactly that. So we have the next floor. And I have 3 minutes. I don't think I will pull that off. But sure, now let's do that. Ah, so I have to go like this. Okay. And here is where I can filter out my ground floor. And do this. And achieve absolutely nothing. No, I did achieve something. I have this thing in here. Probably scale is messed up, so that's nice. Yeah, I am forcing a spline direction, so I have a spline in here. I have 2 floors right now. That's great. And if I will put... Let's double that. I have more floors. Great. And I wonder if I could always select the last data point and treat it as roof. Actually, no, I could just do it differently. The grammar here will be roof. Modules info. Let's add additional module info called roof. And let's give it the exact same value. And now I know that things that will be tagged as roof with the symbol roof will be here. Yeah. And I have to finish the stream, yeah. But at least we're able to figure out the angle problem. So there's that. On the next stream, which sadly won't happen next Sunday because I will be out of town and not in a place where I could stream on Wi-Fi in a comfortable manner. So unfortunately next Sunday I am taking a break and I will be back in 2 weeks because I'm not sure if I will be able to squeeze in a stream somewhere in the middle. But maybe. We will see about that. We'll see about that. Maybe I'll try to squeeze in something during the week. Anyway, I have to finish off today a little bit earlier. It was real fun to figure out all those problems with y'all. And to hear about chaos physics being chaos physics from Dexterovsky. And Barabash, thank you for helping me and pointing me into the right direction. That was awesome. As I said at the beginning, and I was posting in the middle, I have my new private Discord server. And I shared my notes that I will be constantly updating with all the small info that I gathered while working with Unreal Engine about profiling, C++, PCG or whatever. And yeah, that's it. I will either stream in 2 weeks or I will manage to squeeze in something. Either way, I will post about it on Discord and on YouTube socials, etc. So you will get the info. So, see you on the next stream. Have a nice day. And without further ado, goodbye. That's such a terrible joke, but I love it. Bye bye.